How about we move over to the Chicago Cubs as their season came to a close in the NLCS? They lost in 5 games to the Dodgers. The Cubs have made it to the NLCS 3 straight years.
Right.
Going into the offseason, what do you think is the biggest priority for the Chicago Cubs?
I think their bullpen was really exposed all series long and all postseason, really. Joe Madden did not have great options to go down to, options that he could count on, even options that played okay in the regular season. A guy like Carl Edwards Jr. that kind of fell apart in this postseason. If this team wants to do what they are quite capable of, because the talent up and down this roster, then they're going to have to go and get a bullpen because they're going to go back to the playoffs, in my opinion, year after year after year. And if you want to have success when you get there, you got to have multiple arms that are shut down guys that can really get multiple outs. And that's not something Joe Madden has had. I think you got to figure out a little bit of this outfield situation and start looking at, is Schwarber a guy you want to keep back, or do you want to try to trade him, get something back for him? And I think in general, this team could just use some pitching. You look at the nucleus of this team offensively with reigning NL MVP Chris Bryant. We know Rizzo's one of the best all-around players in the league. I think you got a great young player in backstop Wilson Contreras. There's a lot of really effective players offensively for this Cubs team, but I think if you're going to point to one thing, it's the pitching staff and specifically the bullpen. Wade Davis was great, but to get him some real, if you want to win in this day and age, when you look at a team like Cleveland's recipe last year, where maybe their best bullpen arm wasn't their closer. You've seen a little bit of that with Joe Girardi, the way he's using Dave Robertson and Tommy Kahnle to get it to Chapman. Same thing with this Dodgers bullpen. As great as Kenley Jansen's been, they've got guys that we saw all throughout this NLCS.
Morrow is a guy.
Yeah, Fields and Morrow and all these guys that have dominated the Cubs' bats. Cubs need a couple guys like that. They need a couple X-factor arms to get it to Wade Davis if they wanted to win in the postseason. And in general, I think maybe a starter and a couple bullpen arms is going to be what Theo and Jed Hoyer look to this offseason.
Certainly this will be an intriguing offseason with Jake Arrieta out there on the market as a free agent, and we'll see if the Cubs make a move with Kyle Schwarber.